You can have the best plan. You can have the best map of how to get from point A to point B. You can have the best navigator, but if you are in a shitty vehicle, you're going to break down along the way. Welcome to the VetRise Podcast. I'm your host, Juan Perez. My goal is to make success after service accessible to every veteran in society. I believe in the power of leveraging your service, not as a label that defines you, but as a launching pad for your next chapter. What we have been doing hasn't been working, and it's on us to start changing the culture. Enjoy the episode, and thank you for your time. So we have to remember, your vices do not control you. And our vices are things that are in our life that we don't realize are problems. And a lot of what we talk about is self-awareness. A lot of what we talk about is doing the work, showing up to the coaching calls, showing up and doing your workout when you don't want to, showing up and eating the meals even when you don't want to. But we think that we don't have control over our vices because they are the things that are holding us back without even realizing it. And a vice can be a lot of things. It could be the alcohol, which typically that's what we associate with a vice. But it can also be food. It can also be the way that we talk to ourselves, where we enjoy this self-deprecating humor, or we enjoy the fact that we think we can do more with less, and we don't want more from life. We don't want to give ourselves compassion or grace or give ourselves any sort of space to feel sorry for ourselves, because then we think that, well, that's weakness. Our vice could be smoking. Our vice could be the way that we allow people into our lives, and we think that the relationships that we have, that's just the way life is. So we have to really acknowledge the fact that our vices do not control us. They are what we do. They are not who we are. So today we're going to talk about specifically the fact that when you lean into the journey that you're on, when you actually pay attention and realize that you are on a journey, when you actually pay attention and you realize that change is happening and you are changing, and you have to acknowledge the fact that you are changing and you have to celebrate it, you can start to find joy in that. You can start to make a decision that when you go home, you don't have to have that beer after every single one of your long days. Now, self-control goes a long way. Do not get me wrong. Do not think that I'm saying that you cannot drink alcohol. I'm just saying that if you are in a season of grind, or if you are in a season of growth, you need to make a decision if you're going to still allow those things that you know are not good for you and are holding you back to hold you back still. Because the control, the self-awareness, the realization that what I am doing, even if it's 10% of the time, it is affecting me 50% of my life. Because everything adds up. And if you are still leaning on those things to give you joy, to give you the little bit of dopamine that you think it's going to give you for the moment, you're not allowing yourself to give yourself space to find joy, to find that dopamine, to find that love for yourself in other places. So whether it's alcohol, whether it's cigarettes, whether it's food, whether it's late night snacking, whether it's you staying up till 3 a.m. because you think that that's just how life is, and you keep telling yourself, like, I'm just not a good sleeper, that is a vice. And a vice is something that you use to tell yourself that this is what helps me for now. It's what helps me get by. It's what I need to do, because if I can't do that, if I still have that in my life, I can control it a little bit, but it doesn't stop me from growing. But it does. Because unless you have self-control, unless you can decide, I'm not going to do that today because I don't need it, you're going to limit your growth. You can have the best plan. You can have the best map of how to get from point A to point B. You can have the best navigator, but if you are in a shitty vehicle, you're going to break down along the way. You can have the best plan of what you're going to do, your workouts laid out, your calendar freaking squared away, your meal plans, the relationships, But if the vehicle that you're trying to get there with is based on self-abuse, it's based on you using tools that don't help you, you're going to break down along the way. You don't rise to the level when things get hard. You fall to the lowest level of your training, to your systems. So your systems are your safety nets. And you've heard me say this before. You don't get to just tell yourself one day, I don't need it, I'm done, I'm going to be able to do this, and then do it. It needs to come from inside. It needs to come from an internal decision of you telling yourself that I'm going to find joy in other places. You don't take stuff out of your life that makes you miserable without replacing it with something that makes you feel good. And how do we do that? How do we find something that makes us feel good? Well, it starts with self-awareness. It starts with realizing that you need to take ownership over where you are at in life right now. You didn't get to where you are right now because of things happening to you. You got to where you're at right now in life because of what you've done to yourself, what you've allowed in your life, what you have consistently done. Now, whether that is drinking all the time, whether that is the self-sabotage, whether that's the fact that you keep telling yourself, well, I need to embrace the suck. Things cannot be better for me right now. Whether that's the fact that you keep going out for a cigarette every time you think you need it. You don't get to change your life unless you decide that you need to find something that gives you joy. And joy can look like a lot of things. Joy can look like you understand that your life is not reduced to what you were or what you did or even where you are right now. Everything is temporary, which means that your current situation, where you are at right now, is just a product of what you've done. But that also means that you can be somewhere else tomorrow. You can make a huge shift in your life with small decisions. You deciding to do one more workout a week, it's going to make a shift in your life. You deciding to go to bed at the same time every day, it's going to make a huge shift in your life. You deciding that you are done with the self-sabotage and the every weekend going out and having a beer with your buddies, or every single day staying up late and having a late night snack and then you don't sleep well. When you make that shift, when you decide that you are in control of your life and the negative self-talk is the thing that's holding you back, it's nobody else. It's not this world. It's not society. It's you. And there's power in that. Because if it's you, then you can make the shift. So whatever situation you find yourself in, you need to be honest with yourself. You need to tell yourself that you can do something about it. The vices that we have in our life are there because at some point in our life, it made us feel better. It made us felt good. It made us feel good. It made you feel a little bit more yourself. It saved you in a way then. But it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be the thing that makes you feel good. There are so many more reasons in life to be happy and to find joy that we have to stop chasing it. We have to stop telling ourselves, oh, in 1 month or in 1 year, I'll be in such a better place that then I can quit the self-sabotage. Then I can quit smoking. Then I can quit drinking all the time. But it starts with the self-awareness of where you are today. You are here. You are present. You are making a change in your life, and that freaking matters. You don't change by hoping that things get better. You change by actively doing something about it. And you have to celebrate that when you do. You have to acknowledge the wins. When you start to feel proud of yourself because you show up, because you woke up, because you ate your breakfast, because you went to the gym, because on your way home, you decided to not go to the drive-thru and actually go home and make your meal. I don't care how tired you are. All of those things are wins, and they stack. The same way that negatives stack. The same way that when you miss a workout, you know that you're probably going to miss eating your meal, or you might stay up late, or you might go ahead and drink the alcohol that night because you think, well, I already messed up my day. They're going to stack up and you are going to put yourself in a negative. The same way that when you make bad decisions in your life, positives stack up as well. And we have to acknowledge that. You are not a product of your environment. Your environment is a product of the decisions you've made and you've put yourself there. So, environment. I've talked about this before. Environment can change. An environment doesn't mean where you physically live all the time. That is a part of it, absolutely. But environment means the way that you live your life. Do you wake up and is your gym bag ready to go for you? Do you wake up to the first alarm or the seventh alarm? Do you wake up and tell yourself that I'm going to have an amazing day and actually do something about it? See, affirmations only work if you are doing something to actively do it. It's not about one day I will do it. It's about doing it now. And I see you guys showing up. I see you guys consistently being here. But I want you guys to remember, you are on the journey. The journey doesn't start tomorrow. The journey doesn't start when you finally hit a certain weight goal. The journey doesn't start when, oh, well, now I feel like I am actually comfortable in the gym, or now I feel like I can finally meal prep. You're on the journey now. And when you're on the journey, you have to set milestones. And as you set those milestones and as you reach them, you destroy them, which means that you can't go back to that. You have moved the goalpost. And that's important. Because as you realize that you are accomplishing much more than you were before, and you don't compare yourself to other people, whether you're in this program or whether you're doing something else in life, you don't compare yourself to people. You compare yourself to where you were yesterday. And when you do that, you can start to realize all of the progress that you're making. And I want you guys to have freaking amazing, unrealistic dreams because we don't conform to society. We don't. We make our own rules. There is no blueprint of how you have to live. You don't have to do things a certain way. You get to live your life on your terms. But what are your terms? What are your core values and principles? What do you believe in? You have to have core values and principles. You have to have a certain set of rules that you abide by, because if you don't, then you don't realize just how much progress you're making. Because the moment that you tell yourself, I'm going to go to the gym today, and then the moment that you don't do it, you have now lost integrity. You have now lost a little bit of that freaking ground that you had just gained on the war that you're fighting within. If you want to make a decision and you want to let go of one of your vices, whatever it is, the drinking, the alcohol, the smoking, the cigarettes, the binge eating, the fast food every single weekend, if you want to change it, then you have to make a decision that you want to live life differently. Your identity needs to shift. Your core values have to change. So if you're telling yourself that you are a man or woman of action, and you are telling yourself that I have integrity, but you don't live that way, you will realize that you are going to start to, little by little, sacrifice your principles. And when we do that, we start to lose faith in ourselves. Because the same way that if you asked one of your friends to help you move, or you told them, hey, let's meet for dinner, or they asked you to help with something and you show up and they're not there, or they don't show up to help you move, or they're late to the appointment, or whatever it is, little by little, you will start to lose your faith in them. They don't keep their word. And if we don't like that in other people, why would we do it to ourselves? We have to value ourselves so highly because nobody else is going to do it for us. Nobody else is going to be there to tell us, hey, you have a problem. Hey, you need to quit drinking. Hey, you have to stop smoking so much. Hey, you have to quit the self-sabotage. Hey, the negative self-talk that you're telling yourself is hurting you. Hey, you are carrying other people's emotions. And nobody's going to tell you this because everybody has their own issues that they're fighting. And nobody even knows it because we know that we are not honest with the world of what we are going through because we keep it inside because we are guilty, because we feel shame. Let guilt be your guide. You know what it feels like when you end up staying up till 3 a.m. and you go to the pantry and you freaking eat 5 Doritos or 5 Oreos or whatever the hell it is that you eat, and you know what it feels like. You know deep down inside it doesn't align with who you are trying to be. All right, let's stop for a minute. This is the part of the episode where I ask you to do me a favor, but it's not a favor for me. It's a favor for your fellow brothers and sisters that served with you. Do me a favor. Think hard and share this podcast with someone that you think would benefit from it. If you know someone that has been struggling, if you know someone that is going through it right now, and you know that they want better for life, they just don't know how to do it. If this podcast can help them, do it. That's it. That's my only ask. If you want to follow me, then great. You want to subscribe? Go for it. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for your time. Back to the episode. You know what it feels like when you told yourself that, you know what, I'm going to wake up early on Saturday morning and go for a run. And then Friday night, there you are with the beer in your hand, deciding that you want to have another 2 or another 3. You know what it feels like when you told yourself that you're going to study for a test, and then you wait last minute, and then you try and cram it all at once. You know what it feels like to feel guilt. Let guilt be your guide. If you want more from life, you have to demand it. It's very easy to live a complacent life. It's very easy to tell yourself that this is the way it is. This is society. This is just my life because I'm in this relationship or because life dealt me this unfair hand. I have to do this. It makes me feel better. But you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself because it's much easier to put the blame on somebody else or something else than looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I need to do something about this. This is my doing. This is my fault. When you take ownership over something like that, when you take ownership over the fact that you have not been showing up for yourself in the best way possible, when you take ownership over the fact that you've been doing fairly good in most areas of your life, but that one area that you know you want to fucking change in, you keep holding back and making the change. When you take ownership over the fact that you said you were going to do something and you haven't done it and you feel guilty about it, so you ignore the messages, you ignore looking in the mirror, you ignore the coaching calls, you ignore showing up for check-ins. When you do that, you are giving yourself a pass to keep doing it. But if you have gone down a path where you feel like you've made a mistake, you feel guilty about it, you feel like this is not who I am, there's power in that. Because if you are self-aware and you realize that this doesn't align with who I am, who I want to be, then you can do something about it. You can change the narrative. You can change the things that you say to yourself, the story that you tell yourself. I have every reason in the world right now to be bitter, to be angry, to tell myself, life is unfair. I'm being dragged through the mud. My name is being put out there in the world. I'm going through something unfair in life, and I have to drink to feel better about myself. There's power in telling yourself, no, I don't have to do that. I don't need the alcohol. I want better for myself. And then you celebrate it as you do. Because when you accomplish something and you actually celebrate it, when you bookmark it, when you pay attention to the progress you're making, you can't go back to what you were or who you were or what you were doing. Because now you are losing ground. And as you celebrate the fact that, man, I've been working out for a week and I've lost 5 pounds and you know what, I feel better and I have more energy and I'm waking up and I actually feel excited for the day and I am doing better in this area and I just started meal prepping and I am actually showing up for my kids and at work, they're recognizing it and maybe they're going to promote me and you know what, maybe I will start my business or I will launch my podcast or I will start whatever it is you want to do. There's power in that. And you take away the power from yourself when you go back to your old tendencies. They're old for a reason. The same way that the old guard of the military has the mindset of society is fucked up and it's not our fault and nobody gets us. And then they find this echo chamber on social media, on Facebook, at the VFW, wherever it is. They find people that will validate their belief system. And I'm not saying that the VFW is bad. I'm not saying that Facebook is bad. I'm saying everything is a tool. You decide how you use it. You decide whether you're going to look for that echo chamber of validating the fact that you're not as bad as everybody else. You're not doing as bad as somebody else. You're comparing yourself to someone who's worse off than you, and you give yourself permission to be, I'm all right. This isn't that bad. At least I have a job. At least I'm not drinking every day. At least I'm not smoking a whole pack of cigarettes. At least I'm not eating fast food every single meal. You're giving yourself a pass to keep going down that path. You're giving yourself a pass to keep going down that path. Down that path is nothing but misery, nothing but lack of self-control, nothing but lack of awareness. When you feel that guilt, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. When you feel that guilt, you can make a decision. Whether you lean into the guilt and you realize, I need to do something about this, or you decide that it's not your fault, that this is just the way life is, that these are just my circumstances, that I have it under semi-control, that I'm not as bad as somebody else, so therefore it's all right. And you give yourself a pass to keep going down that path. But the thing is, there's a whole nother path out there. A path where you're making a decision to actively do something about the problems and the vices in your life that are controlling you. Because if you said no to doing it and you still did it, you don't have the self-control that you need. And self-control comes from you realizing that you have much more to do. You are devoted to change. You're not just interested in it, you are committed to it. You need to be committed to change, because if you are here in this world right now and you are not where you want to be in life, you can get there. It's the next level. There's nothing holding you back. I promise you. You've already done it, as a matter of fact. You've already committed to making a change in your life. You've already been able to do something more now than you were able to do back then. You have to acknowledge that. You have to lean into it, because you know damn well that when you go to the gym and you do your workout and you eat something healthy and you go to bed on time and you wake up with energy, you know damn well that you feel better. But what are you still fighting in your life that you think has to be there? Is it a negative relationship? Because that can be a vice. Because the self-abuse of you feeling like you can't get ahead in life because of who you are and the people that you keep around you, that's also a problem. You see, vices aren't just about the thing that I'm doing or drinking or eating. It can also be about the way that you treat yourself, because you are in love with this self-pity. You are in love with this idea of, I'm living a miserable life. And why are we in love with it? Well, it's life. Another day. I'm getting by. You see, society isn't messed up. It's the way that we treat ourselves, because it's individual. And you don't see the people that are high performers talking about this. You don't see that. But what does misery love? They want you to repeat it out loud. They want you to be miserable with them. So they share it. They talk about it. They want you to come to the bar. They want you to keep involving yourself in that negative relationship. They want the back and forth of the fighting of whatever it is going on in your life. Because if you're doing it, then they won't feel guilty. Because how the fuck is it that they can't say no to the bottle, but you can? Be different. Be willing to be the outlier. You see, it's not about what successful people are doing that makes them successful. And by the way, success can mean whatever you want it to mean. Define it on your terms. But I want you to be freaking ambitious about it. But it's not about what they are doing that helps them. It's about what they're not doing. They say no more often. They don't waste their time. They follow their schedule. They don't stay up late. They wake up and they do the workout because they say no to the things in life that pull them back. Give yourself permission to succeed by letting go of the vices or the things in your life that are holding you back. I don't want you guys to think that you are limited by who you were or what you used to do or what you're still doing right now currently, because that is 10% of your life. But that 10% of your life that you're still doing, it's affecting 100% of your life. Because you could be working out. You could be doing the right things. You could be cutting people off, avoiding the negative relationships. You could be changing your mindset on how you see yourself. But if you're still doing that one negative tendency, if you're still allowing that one thing to control you because you think that you have to do it, you think that it benefits you, you think that it's helping you survive or helping you get by, that is where you're more than likely to fall back to your old tendencies. Because you're giving all this power to a small percentage of what you think is enough. It's okay. It's not that bad. But it is affecting 100% of your life. If you are keeping a negative relationship in your life, if you are avoiding that hard conversation with someone in your life to end that relationship, or if you are avoiding putting that bottle down every weekend because it scares you, you have not celebrated yourself enough. You have not congratulated yourself on the fact that you have made some changes in your life, and you need to lean into that. We know how good it feels when we do good in life. But we also know how bad it feels when we make a decision that affects us negatively. And like I said, it affects 100% of your life. So find joy in what you are doing. Find joy in the fact that you are creating something amazing for your life. Find joy in the fact that you are showing up, you are actually winning, and you do not have to rely on a hit of dopamine from a freaking cigarette or a blunt or a bottle or a late night snack, because it's going to affect the rest of your life. And you will keep hitting the wall. Because like I said, you can have a plan, you can have a destination, you can know where you're going, you can know what kind of dreams you have. But if you are in a shitty vehicle because you keep putting shitty fuel into your body, you are not going to get there. You are going to break down on your way there. So celebrate yourself when you win. Celebrate yourself when you say no to those things in your life. Be proud of who you are. There is no self-pity if you feel so self-righteous on your path. It's not about cockiness. It's about confidence. And in my opinion, the difference between those two words is the intention. The intention. Are you doing what you're doing because you want a better life for yourself? Or are you doing what you're doing because you feel better than everybody else? Do it for the best life that you can, to have people around you grow with you. And I know you guys are doing that. Thank you for your time.
And that brings us to the end of another episode of the VetRise Podcast. If today's episode inspired you, made you think, or simply just gave you hope, I have a small favor to ask. Share it with just one veteran or someone you think could benefit from my message. Your share could light a spark for them. You don't know who you might save. For more insights and to join this mission, follow my socials at JP the Veteran Coach and explore how we can rise together. Thank you for joining us, for being part of this journey, and for believing in the power of rising together as veterans. Until next time, keep pushing forward, keep rising, and never forget we are stronger together. My name is Juan Perez, and thank you for your time.